Hello. I have a question for you. What makes games fun? Is it a deep, compelling story, a 1,000-hour adventure, one with lots of choices, maybe a difficult challenge? Does it need to immerse you to have fun? Well, I'm here to tell you what I found. Tetris is funny, it has no story at all. Research shows that stories do have an impact on a game. However, it's not the most important part. If a game has meaningless gameplay but an impactful story, why not have a book or film? The key is to have a story that complements the gameplay. It can't be the only priority. That's why Starfield is so lowly rated. Its story was grand, but with shallow gameplay, it's become Bethesda's worst rated game. This just shows that a good story can't save a mediocre game. How about a game's length? Should it be a linear 2-hour experience? Or should it be a 1,000-hour game with dozens of optional side content? Turns out that it's not about length at all. As it turns out, you shouldn't be asking if a long game is better, but rather focus on pacing. If you play a game that only lasts 2 hours but has really slow pacing, it can drag on forever. However, if it has 300 hours of gameplay with a thrilling story, the time seems to fly. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom took me about 250 hours, however, it never really felt slow outside of me just being dumb. It has 120 shrines and light routes on top of a thrilling story. There's 1,000 Korok seeds a player can hunt down. There are the skies, the depths, and the surface with tons of puzzles other than shrines. This is the prime example of a well-paced game, so length isn't as important as you think. What about choice? Everyone likes choice. Does the game need lots of choices to be fun? Well, it depends on the game. It complements the story. If your main character is silent, can't really talk to characters if they're mute. Maybe it's a game with split paths. Is it for different rewards or an entirely different ending? Minecraft Story Mode is full of choices, some small and some determine what you can do next. On the other hand, a Mario game has you go left to right with some collectibles, but it ultimately leads you to the same place. At the end of the day, choice, or at least the illusion of it, can give the player more enjoyment out of a game, whether it be collectibles or an entirely separate story, but one's decision. It's clear that choice is recommended. Now there's difficulty. Should a game be easy for everyone or be a grueling challenge? Well, who would have guessed? It needs to be balanced. Whether the game progressively gets harder over time or a difficulty choice, there's that word again, the player should be eased into the difficulty needed to enjoy the game. For example, Cult of the Lamb. Not only does this roguelike section of the game progressively add more and harder enemies, but it also has a difficulty selector always available in the pause menu. This gives the player more or less health depending on the difficulty, but also makes followers' needs go down faster or slower. This lets casual players enjoy the game while also giving more dedicated players harder challenges. Options like these give players the choice that feels comfortable without punishing players who are struggling. Finally, perspective and the impact on immersion. Games typically have two different types of perspectives, first person and third person. The City University of London did an experiment on players' immersion and perspective. Those who preferred third-person games showed more immersion for, third-person games. However, overall, first-person games scored the highest across the board on immersion, even with biases for third-person games. Also, a research-gauged study showed that having a custom character in games has an important role in immersing the player. Basically, the player feels more immersed with the world since it's their adventure. This led to more enjoyment in the game overall. So first-person games with custom characters can improve immersion and enjoyment in games. Well, from what I've learned, it seems that games are more impacted than genre and music. The story, length, difficulty, decisions, and perspective are all important to games in varying impactful ways. They make games more enjoyable in ways we don't typically think about. At the end of the day, however, all of this is subjective to the player. Some may want a thrilling, lengthy, story-driven game like Tears of the Kingdom, or a more casual game they can take at their own pace like Animal Crossing. This was all done just to make some points and some interesting research I wanted to do. Play what you want to play, or nothing at all if that's what you want to do. I'm just trying to make a neat essay on a hobby I love. So thank you for listening. See ya.